Hello, hi everybody. Kelvin from London here. I'll review all types of stereo equipment, old and young, new and old. Today, I'm going to review 3 presently available speakers, yeah? So I'll do the technical stuff on these, and then I'm going to go into the sound in a lot of detail, yes? Referencing songs that you can play at home, but if you listen to all that stuff about the songs, you should know what these speakers sound like by the end of it, yeah? Okay, let's just do the technical things, what we have here. So let's start at the end there. That is Acoustic Energy AE100. It's got a port at the back. You can get those presently today, £200, yeah? In England, yeah? 75 watts channel. Then we've got Q Acoustics 3020, not the I, just 3020, 75 watts, also has a port at the back, and you can get those presently for £150, yeah, £150, so they're the cheapest ones. And that's the Elac Debut 2.0, and you can buy these, well, this is the walnut, £320 in England today. 120 watts. Yeah. Okay. Let me do what I did amplifier wise. Yeah, I used 2 things, 2 amplifiers really at different times. I used a Sansui, vintage Sansui power amp, the power amp from an AU317 1978, and I used a preamp, a more modern preamp, a linn wakonda. Yeah. Now, worth pointing out, the linn wakonda is a better preamp than exists in the Sansui, but the power amp is good on that Sansui. So it worked out really well. So well, and you may be surprised to hear or shocked, right? But I also plugged in the name NAP 100 power amp and compared the Sansui with the name. And I gotta tell you, I mean, the Sansui's a flat out winner, which kind of surprised me, or, I'm always thinking or waiting for my attachment to vintage to be dashed. This vintage stuff isn't that good. So even I was surprised when the Sansui was clearly just better, had more bass, had a better soundstage. The name seemed a bit sort of, I don't know, a bit finely detailed, but just sort of minute. And but I mean, it's very hard to explain this, but honestly, the Sansui was better. It was just plain better. And also, I used a Quad Elite 140 watt power amp, yeah, which really, forced a better performance out of all of them. If you've got a load of watts, that will help these little things do something. I mean, if you turn them up too loud, they won't like it. But that's what I used, and I was streaming from a Node 2.1, 2.0, is it? A streamer, basically. Okay. Let's do the sound. I'll do it quickly, and then I'll go into detail. That Elac, it's got the biggest sound, It's the biggest box, it's obvious, So it's got the biggest sound. It's a little bit recessed in the mid-range. It's kind of universally okay, yeah? I'm not a big fan. Q Acoustics, the least bass of the 3, yeah? Mid-range orientated and nice in the mid-range, but bass light, yeah? I mean, I'll go into a ton more detail in a minute. And the Acoustic Energy, more bass than the Q Acoustics, a kind of quite a sort of full sound in its sort of spectrum of sound frequencies, but it doesn't get all the details right. But it has got sort of a sort of traditional sounding, that amount of bass and this amount of mid-range, probably not enough mid-range, to be honest with you. And then I just say another funny thing, which actually only just occurred to me as I was lining these up, yeah, is that tweeter, you know, it looks like that tweeter with a coating, yeah? I mean, it's a bit bigger. And then when I look in here, that tweeter looks almost exactly the same as that. You know, this grill comes off, but you have to prise it off. I won't take it off. But it looks almost exactly the same. And there's a fair commonality in the top end of these three speakers. So I don't know if are they all the same companies at least, or derivatives of one another. And also worth noting, you know, smallest, bit bigger bass drivers, you know, that plays a big difference, you know. Quite a dead sound. Hang on. I mean, I'm doing that because this deadness that cone has, seriously, it comes out, you know, it comes out in the sound. Okay, let's do the sound in detail. I'll do some songs and tell you sort of how they performed in these various songs. So I did a song called Gravity by Alison Krauss, one of those beautifully recorded, I'm calling it country. I think it's country, it is country. But they seem to record things so incredibly. It's like the guitar is better than real life, you know. Anyway, listen to that one. Okay, on this Elac, it's got the biggest scale, yeah. You know, this is gonna make a bigger sound, you know, if you don't know. Small speakers, unless they're like the work of genius, they always sound small, particularly when they're getting as diddy as this, you know. I mean, if they're expensive, maybe they can do something, you know. But, so yeah, this has got the biggest scale. Now, here's this thing, they've got a recessed mid-range, yeah. So what I've got is the voice is not solid enough. And her voice is beautifully recorded there. I mean, it's just spectacular. So voice is not solid enough. And the drums are a bit papery. The drums are just a bit weak. I'm not sure what it is, but okay, that's what it sounded like. I also put here, I can't relax. I can't relax with this speaker because it does things I don't like, you know. Moving on. So this is Gravity, Alison Krauss. Q Acoustics. I preferred, the voice, the female voice here was the most intimate and real of all three, yeah? The most emotive, I put. So, you know, you're getting something out of her female voice, which you should, because it's incredible and, you know, it should sound spectacular, you know. On really good speakers, it's a killer. And on the A&E, Acoustic Energies, voice a bit smaller, bit more bass, but I can sense the smallness, yeah, just the smallness of the speaker. You know, you can't, you know, you can't hide, well, let me say this. I'm not going to say that these perform well within their price range, which they probably do, but that doesn't tell you the real information that I think you should have, which is it any good, you know? And that's what I'm going to tell you. And if they've got, so I'm going to tell you the shortcomings, you know, and I'll tell you at the end, you know, what I think really. But anyway, okay, next song, Dave Alvin, Harlan County Line. This is a really great recording again. It's from an album called, I think, 11 to 11. It's like a live-ish sound, you know, and he's got a really impressive in-the-room kind of voice. It's recorded really like that. So, on these Elacs, lo and behold, what did I put here? Voice not in the room. Yeah, I mean, listen to that record on your stereo. Most people's stereo, it will sound really good. It's really lovely. His voice is really big in it. It's really intimate. It's in the room. On these speakers, sorry, wasn't in the room. You know, voice wasn't in the room. Quacky snare. something in the mid-range with these. I don't know. Generally a bit synthetic, yeah? I'm telling it how it is. Going on to those Q Acoustics. More lifelike voice. Better than the Elacs. More authenticity in the mid-band. Less bass. But, you know, if the voice isn't right, to me, that's such a key thing. Because that, you know, that's the bit that I really love personally. And I don't know about you, but it makes my heart sing when I hear great voices. And if the voice isn't happening, it's kind of not, you know, it's not happening, you know. So yeah, the Q Acoustics was better, you know. This Q Acoustics, it's mid-range orientated, you know. And going to the Acoustic Energy, the voice, his voice had the edges smoothed off, yeah. So his gritty but nice to hear voice was just taking the edges off it, you know, just smoothed out, just like had the detail removed from it a bit. I mean, you know, it's a little speaker, £200. It just can't do it, you know what I mean? And do the bass and do the treble. Just a bit small, yeah. Smooth and pleasant, I put, but just a bit small, and the edges were taken off of the voice. Okay. Second song I did was a song called, it's a weird title, this, Alice Child Dress, yeah, by the Ben Folds 5. Okay, Elacs has the scale. That's nice, you know, it's nice to have scale. Those two there, they haven't really got scale. The mid and yeah, there's something just wrong in the mid. The snare sounded actually kind of okay on this song, but the tom-toms had this sort of doo-doo, you know, sort of like, you know, more like electronicness, or just couldn't resolve their detail. I just feel like that, you know, that cone, whatever it is, or so, you know, didn't really enjoy it particularly. Going to the Q Acoustics, better snare and drums, yeah. Those Qs, they do drums okay, and I mean all drums and the tom-toms, even though it's small scale, you just don't get the feeling that the drums are being choked or confined. They just do sound kind of all right, but smaller, but kind of, you know, just scaled down, but fine, you know. So that was a nice male voice. Enjoyed. I said enjoyed it, not annoying. Yeah, nothing horribly wrong about it. And the A&Es, I put, not that they were bad, but I put the least good. Yeah, they were the least pleasing of the three of that song. And I put here plasticky sounding toms. Those A&Es do that. They have a sort of the plasticky sound. This has a plasticky dull sound, and those A&Es have a sort of livelier plasticky sound. I hope that makes sense. Okay, did I do... Okay, yeah, let's do this one. This is interesting, and you might play this in your house if you're interested, because it is an interesting thing. It's called Sweetest Decline by Beth Orton. It's got a load of edgy noises in it, and if your system isn't good, that song is just all a bit like unhappy, and you won't enjoy it. So if you if you played that song at home and you enjoyed it and it was pleasant and doesn't seem anything rogue or wrong or edgy or misplaced or, you know, funny or, you know, not good, that probably means your hi-fi is all right, you know. But if you play that song and you sort of come out of it going, what was that, you know, it was unpleasant, their voice was getting shrill or something, that probably means there's, you know, you could do with some other equipment or something want some paying attention to, I would say. So yeah, that's Sweetest Decline. Go for these Elacs again. Lacking middle space. It's a lot of mid-range activity on that record. You know, got to be careful with this word. Minutely shrill. I do mean minutely shrill, because the second you say the word shrill, you know, I would go, I don't want that. I'm talking the tiniest bit, you know. And I put here, not cohesive. Yeah, it's not making the sound stage in a cohesive way. Yeah, afraid not. This is the truth. Q Acoustics, not doing it either. Not really working. Too bright, because it's a bright song, and then you've got a speaker that's pretty bright. You're like doubled up, and it's not working. And the same thing for the A&E. Yeah, sorry, not working. Not really happening either. So what I want to say, you know, this is what I want to say, right? Because people review things and they say, oh, for £200 it's good at the price point and this and that, or £300 it's good at the price point. To me, if you want some good listening experiences, truth is, I wouldn't buy any of these. I just wouldn't. Yeah, they're not very good. They're more or less the bottom of the range. They're small. They're not gonna be that great, you know. So, you know, if it was me anyway, you know, I'd say save up or buy some more expensive things. Buy some things that actually sound good, you know, or, you know, go into the vintage market and you get something. Try a few punts for £100, $100, $200. You might have something really great, you know, much bigger, more impressive, you know. Obviously, there's risk in that, obviously. I mean, the one speaker of these that is the best one for me would be the Q Acoustics, yeah? I could live with that speaker. I could have it on and not be annoyed. Let's say that. So I'm just going to do a bunch of words and just sum it up, and then that'll be it. The Elac, it's got the biggest scale. It's got lots more bass. It's got some coloration in the middle. I just swear to it, you know. And the top end on all of these is fairly similar, and it's fairly sort of small and tidy and not magical and not that getting anything sounding super real. Yeah, it's not got any sort of real cuttingness about it, you know. Some thinness in the middle and top, and the vocals don't sing on these speakers. Don't listen to people's voices and make your heart sing. Yeah, it just doesn't happen. Those Q Acoustics, the vocals can do something nice for £150. You know, bigger speakers would sound miles better. You know, bigger speakers, you get lucid bass, spaced out, higher highs, lower lows, better sound stage, better focus, you know. If you don't know, that's, you know, the truth of the matter. So the Q Acoustics, it does tom-toms, it does drums best, it does the middle best of all three, I would say. And what did I put here? I could live with these speakers. The snare on those Q Acoustics just comes out miles bigger than it does on these Elacs. So that kind of demonstrates what's going on sound-wise here. You know, the snare drum would just sound twice as loud on those Qs at the same volume. You know, it'd just be a much bigger in the presentation. You know, and the A&E 100s, it's got more bass than the Q Acoustics. The mid is not so authentic, and the mid feels just a little bit confined or choked, or again, it doesn't really sing in the mid range. It doesn't really, don't get that much enjoyment out of that in the mid range. I put it, it's too small, and there's no real magic in the top end. which is true of all of them, I'm afraid to say. So that's it. That's what I think. That's what I'm giving you is the truth of the matter. You know, no one gave me these to review. I acquired these from friends. And so, you know, I'm telling you how it is. And, you know, I think it's worth me saying what I think if they're worth having, rather than couch it all in, you know, cliched lines, because, you know, I just wouldn't have them. They're not going to give you a great buzz. It's the truth of the matter. Okay, lots more reviews on my channel. If you're interested, please subscribe. Yeah, that would be great. Okay, thanks. Bye for now.